a pilot is sitting at the controls of the most advanced commercial aircraft ever built. 250,000 people line the shores of Lake Washington below him. His orders are clear: perform a smooth, professional flyover, let the crowd see the machine, and land. He has absolutely no intention of following those orders. In a few moments, in full view of every major airline executive in the world, he is going to roll this aircraft completely upside down. And what happens in the next 60 seconds will either launch the JetAge or end it forever. The year is 1955, and the world has already made up its mind about jets. 3 years earlier, the British introduced the world's first commercial jet airliner, the de Havilland Comet. Sleek, fast, revolutionary, it was supposed to prove that jets were the future of air travel. Instead, it proved the opposite. Within a year, comets began coming apart at cruising altitude. 3 catastrophic structural failures. No survivors. The aircraft were permanently grounded. The engineers hadn't fully understood what pressurization would do to an airframe over thousands of flight cycles. Every single trip into the sky and back down was slowly weakening the structure, until one day it didn't hold. But what happened next changed everything. The world's airlines looked at the wreckage and reached a single conclusion: jets had no business carrying passengers. And that belief quietly, powerfully, was becoming the wall standing between the future and the present. Bill Allen was Boeing's president, and in 1955, he was watching his company slowly disappear. When the Second World War ended, military contracts vanished overnight. Boeing's only commercial aircraft, the Stratocruiser, was a commercial disaster. Its engines were notoriously unreliable, with a reputation for catching fire mid-flight. Nobody wanted it. By 1950, Boeing had not sold a single commercial airliner in years. But Boeing had something its competitors didn't. For the last decade, Boeing had been designing and building the world's most advanced jet combat aircraft, capable of 600 miles per hour at 40,000 feet. Their engineers understood large, high-speed jets better than anyone alive. They had studied the Comet, and they had seen exactly what went wrong. In 1952, Allen made a decision that would either save his company or finish it. He took nearly every dollar Boeing had earned since the war and placed it on one single bet: a new jet, built differently, built to survive. No one predicted what came next. Boeing's engineers started by asking a different question. The British had asked, "How do you prevent a failure?" Boeing asked, "How do you survive one?" The Comet buried its engines inside the wing structure. It was aerodynamically elegant, but it was a fatal design choice. If an engine tore itself apart, the damage would spread directly into the aircraft. Boeing mounted each engine below the wing on a separate support pylon, fitted with precision bolts engineered to release under extreme stress. If an engine failed catastrophically mid-flight, the pylon would separate, and the aircraft would keep flying. Then they turned to the fuselage. They built a pressurized fuselage section identical to the Comet's design and drove metal blades through it. It came apart instantly. Then they did the same to their own fuselage. It held. Reinforced skin, redesigned stress distribution. A structure built not to resist a crack, but to contain one, to keep a failure from becoming a catastrophe. They powered it with a combat-proven engine already logging more operational hours than any other jet engine on Earth. On July 15, 1954, the Dash 80 lifted off on its maiden flight. This was the moment everything shifted. But the aircraft alone wasn't enough. The world's airlines weren't simply skeptical, they were convinced. 3 crashes had burned into public memory. No engineering breakthrough, however real, could undo that. So Allen launched a quiet, calculated campaign. His team filmed the fuselage destruction tests side by side. Comet design versus Boeing design. They sent the footage directly to every executive, board member, and decision maker who had the power to say yes or no to the JetAge. They had no idea what was waiting on the other side. The response was silence. Alan needed something bigger, something that couldn't be ignored, something that would change the conversation in a single moment. August 1955, Seattle. The Institute of the Aeronautical Sciences had called a major conference. Every senior airline executive on the planet in one city at the same time. And outside the conference halls, 250,000 people were gathering along Lake Washington for the 1955 Gold Cup, one of the largest single-day sporting events in the country. Alan saw his opportunity. He invited the executives onto a private yacht, and while they were aboard, the Dash 80 would perform a clean, controlled flyover. Professional, precise, safe. But Tex Johnston, Boeing's chief test pilot, had already decided that clean and professional wasn't going to move a single order. He pushed the aircraft into a barrel roll, 360 degrees of rotation, completely upside down directly over the crowd and the executives watching from the water below. No one predicted this. No one was ready for it. On the yacht, Bill Allen stood in silence, watching what looked like the slow-motion unraveling of everything he had built, everything he had wagered, everything Boeing had worked toward for 3 years. Then Johnston came around and did it again. What Allen didn't know, what no one watching from the shore understood, was that Johnston was in complete control the entire time. A barrel roll is a 1G maneuver. The aircraft traces a smooth corkscrew path while experiencing roughly the same forces as straight and level flight. Johnston hadn't put the aircraft at risk. He had erased a decade of doubt in under 60 seconds. Airline executives who had refused to put passengers on a jet had just watched one roll completely upside down and keep flying. But this is where the story takes a turn no one saw coming. Within days, the phone rang in Bill Allen's office. The first major American airline had just committed to jets. They were ready to enter the JetAge, but they weren't ordering from Boeing. Douglas Aircraft, the most powerful commercial aircraft builder in the world, Within days, the phone rang in Bill Allen's office. The first major American airline had just committed to jets. They were ready to enter the JetAge, but they weren't ordering from Boeing. Douglas Aircraft, the most powerful commercial aircraft builder in the world, had been watching Boeing quietly for months. They had seen the demonstrations, studied the data, and made their move. They announced their own jet, the DC-8. More seats, more range, Douglas's name behind it. The orders poured in. United, Delta, Eastern Airlines, all of them, choosing Douglas. Boeing had spent 3 years and nearly every dollar they had, and they were losing. But this story is only just beginning.